Sophia was 35 and owned a small restaurant called La Cocina de los Sueños. She had built it from scratch after her divorce 2 years ago, pouring her heart into creating a warm, welcoming space. But things weren't going well. Business was slow, bills were piling up, and Sophia was running out of ideas. She spent most of her days in the kitchen, her once vivid dreams now blurred by exhaustion and doubt. Sophia wasn't one to give up easily, but she couldn't deny how lonely she felt. Her life revolved around the restaurant. No friends, no hobbies, just work. That all changed when she met Daniel. He was the new produce supplier, a tall, confident man in his early 30s with a quick smile and a genuine passion for food. Their first meeting was unexpected. Sophia had been rushing through her inventory, stressed about an upcoming dinner service, when Daniel walked in, carrying a crate of fresh vegetables. "I thought you might like these," he said with an easy grin. His energy was infectious. They talked about her menu, the challenges of running a small business, and their shared love for cooking. Sophia found herself smiling for the first time in weeks. Daniel had ideas, creative ones that could help her restaurant stand out. But it wasn't just his ideas that caught her attention. There was something about his enthusiasm, the way he made her feel like her dreams mattered. That evening, as she prepped for dinner service, Sophia caught herself thinking about Daniel. She hadn't felt this spark of hope in a long time. Maybe, just maybe, things were about to change. Daniel quickly became a regular presence at the restaurant. Every few days, he would drop by with fresh produce, each delivery accompanied by lively conversation and a genuine interest in Sophia's work. He always seemed eager to help, suggesting creative ways to improve the menu and make the restaurant more appealing to customers. Sophia began to look forward to his visits, her days feeling a little brighter with him around. One afternoon, Daniel brought her a rare type of herb, excited to see how she'd incorporate it into her dishes. They ended up spending hours in the kitchen experimenting with recipes, laughing at failed attempts and celebrating small successes. Sophia couldn't remember the last time she had laughed so much. Daniel had a way of making her forget her worries, even if just for a while. But it wasn't just their shared love for food that connected them. They began talking about their lives outside of work. Daniel shared stories of his travels, his family, and how he had ended up working in produce distribution. Sophia opened up about her struggles since the divorce and her fears about the restaurant failing. Daniel listened intently, offering encouragement and support that felt genuine. Despite their growing friendship, a part of Sophia hesitated. During one of their conversations, Daniel casually mentioned he was in a relationship. He didn't give many details, and Sophia didn't press him. Still, the thought lingered in her mind. Why did he spend so much time with her if he was already with someone? Meanwhile, the restaurant's financial troubles grew. Sophia faced the possibility of having to let go of staff or even shut down completely. The weight of her responsibilities pressed down on her, but Daniel's presence felt like a lifeline. He brought hope and light during a time when everything else felt so uncertain. Sophia found herself torn. Was her growing affection for Daniel a distraction, or was it something real? Every time she saw him, her feelings deepened. Yet, She couldn't ignore the voice in her head asking whether it was right to let those feelings grow. One evening, after a busy dinner service, Daniel stayed to help Sophia clean up. As they worked side by side, she noticed something glinting on his hand, a ring. It wasn't large or ornate, but it was unmistakable. Her chest tightened. "Daniel," she asked carefully, "are you married?" He hesitated, glancing at his hand before answering. "I am," he admitted quietly. "Her name is Claudia. We've been together for a long time, but things haven't been good for years." Sophia felt a wave of emotions: shock, confusion, and even anger. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked, her voice trembling. Daniel looked at her, his expression pained. "I didn't mean to hide it," he said. "It just didn't feel important. What matters is that I enjoy being here with you. You make me feel alive again." His words hung in the air, and Sophia didn't know what to say. She cared about Daniel, but this revelation changed everything. She spent the rest of the night replaying their conversations in her mind, wondering how she had missed the signs. At the same time, her restaurant's problems escalated. An investor had approached her with an offer to buy the restaurant. It was tempting. Selling would relieve her financial burden, but it also meant letting go of her dream. She felt trapped between her professional struggles and her personal confusion. Sophia confided in her best friend Carla the next day. Carla listened patiently, then said, "Sophia, you deserve someone who can be there for you completely. Don't settle for less. And as for the restaurant, remember why you started it. Don't let fear make the decision for you." Carla's words stayed with her. That evening, when Daniel stopped by, Sophia confronted him. "I can't do this," she said. "I care about you, but I can't be the other woman. You need to figure out what you really want." Daniel seemed taken aback but nodded. "You're right," he said. "I need to think about what's next, for both of us." Sophia felt a mix of sadness and relief. She had stood her ground, but the uncertainty of what lay ahead was overwhelming. The following days were a whirlwind for Sophia. With Daniel no longer visiting the restaurant, she felt his absence keenly. She missed their conversations, his laughter, and the way he made her feel seen. But she also knew she had made the right decision. If she wanted clarity and peace, she couldn't compromise her values. At the same time, the restaurant's struggles reached a breaking point. The investor's offer to buy the restaurant was still on the table, and the deadline to decide loomed over her like a storm cloud. Sophia spent sleepless nights weighing her options. Selling would mean financial security, but it also meant giving up on everything she had worked so hard to build. One afternoon, as she prepared for the evening service, she received a call. It was Daniel. "Can we meet?" he asked. Hesitant but curious, Sophia agreed. They met at a small park near her restaurant. Daniel looked different. Less confident, more vulnerable. "I've been thinking about what you said," he began. "You're right. I've been holding on to something that isn't working, and it's not fair to anyone involved. I've decided to end my marriage. It's not because of you, it's because I know it's the right thing to do." Sophia listened quietly, her heart conflicted. She admired his honesty but knew she needed to prioritize herself right now. "Thank you for telling me," she said. "But I need time to focus on my restaurant and figure out my own path. I can't jump into anything right now." That evening, as she closed the restaurant, Sophia felt a renewed sense of strength. She had faced her fears, stood by her values, and was ready to fight for her dream. A week later, Sophia made her decision about the restaurant. She declined the investor's offer, determined to save it on her own terms. She revamped the menu, reached out to local food bloggers, and launched a social media campaign. Slowly but surely, customers began to return, drawn by her passion and creativity. As for Daniel, he reached out occasionally, but Sophia kept her boundaries firm. She realized that her happiness didn't depend on him, or anyone else. Standing in her bustling kitchen one evening, she smiled, knowing she had chosen herself. Her dream was alive, and so was she.